How you doing, folks? Doug Rice. All right, how you doing there, folks? Just want to make sure everybody tells me you got a booming voice. Can you fix that? Sorry. All right, so this is just me giving some content and some creation to educate and edify the Negro Nation. Got something you guys might be interested in. It's called the Book of Adam and Eve. It's rarely discussed, rarely talked about, and I find it fascinating. Uh, the real curiosity came with one of my supporters named Sheepdog, who you can find on Instagram, and he gave real interest to this after I sent a copy. As you guys know, I provide PDFs at very very low donation no donation target for a purpose. You get more PDFs, the more you may want. But that aside, this is an interesting piece of literature, a piece of apocrypha, and there's no wonder they've kept it from the eyes of so many. Let's dig into it. Before we do, thank you so much for showing up, for checking out this test run. It may go up, it may not. I don't know. Right now, it looks good. I don't know. I got to hear it first. Uh, First things first, if you would, guys, as I try to maintain what I do, if you could please, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let folks know I got at least a story to tell, and we will hopefully continue doing this as we make our way down toward Goshen, toward Elko. You guys will hear more about that as we continue, but let's get back to the task at hand and make sure that I have everything in play. Here we go. First, let me make sure this is up in the corner. Boom, and then I'll do this. All right. Also, I knew I should do that. Always take that off, right? That little rolling thing, I'm sure it takes something away from what I say. All right, here we go. So, the Old Testament Apocrypha, the lives of Adam and Eve. Now, there are about 40 or so panels to this particular presentation. We're probably going to go over 20 of them after I make sure this test is good. So here we go with the lives of Adam and Eve. Chapter 1. When they were both driven out from paradise, they made themselves a booth and spent 7 days mourning and lamenting in grief. Okay, so that's interesting. So this takes up right after they were booted out of Eden, out of the garden. But some folks make the mistake of thinking that that Garden of Eden is here on this particular planet, on this surface, and it's not. It's made clear in this particular writing that they were sent here from the garden, which was and is protected by angels. So and that's just chapter 1, that simple verse. Chapter 2. But after days, they began to be hungry and started to look for victual to eat, and they found it. Then Eve said to Adam, "My Lord, I am hungry. Go look for something for us to eat. Perhaps the Lord God will look back and pity us and recall us to the place in which we were before." Very interesting. The place which we were before. That tells a tale. I know there's more to be learned there. Chapter 3. And Adam arose and walked 7 days over all that land and found no victual such as they used to have in paradise. And Eve said to Adam, "Wilt thou slay me that I may die, and perchance God the Lord will bring thee into paradise? For on my account hast thou been driven thence." Adam answered, "Forbear, Eve, for such words, that peradventure God bring not such other curse upon us. How is it possible that I should stretch forth my hand against my own flesh? Nay, let us arise and look for something for us to live, that we will not fail, that we will fail not." That's chapter 3. So Eve offered herself as a sacrifice, perhaps thinking that the Most High might give her, at least give her the solace of knowing maybe Adam will live and be allowed back into paradise. And of course, Adam declined that, which of course what a husband would do. He loved her enough to partake of the fruit. I can imagine he loved her too much to try to sacrifice her. Continuing, chapter 4, and they walked about and searched for 9 days, and they found none such as they were used to have in paradise. Now, the footnote there says the best and most written translation, the Old Testament Apocrypha, are those in the great scholarly work of Reverend R.H. Charles, Apocrypha and Pseudepigrapher of the Old Testament, published in England by Oxford University. The translation of Old Testament Apocrypha is the present volume are largely from the work of Dr. Charles and his fellow laborers, simplified for public use. Well, let's continue. But found only animals' food. So the food that they found was only for animals. So let's conclude animals eating the grass and the things of the earth were not meant for us to eat. So the things we see animals eat that we eat were not meant for us to eat. That's obvious by this writing. And Adam said to Eve, "This hath the Lord provided for animals and brutes to eat, but we used to have angels' food." Consider what's being said there. All right, I'm going to pause there before I go too far, just to see if this works. If so, I will then try this